Oh, okay, so I start out with a intro. Here we go.
All right.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome everyone to the An Eye for Horror podcast with me, your host, Jake Patton, aka Jake the Horror Movie Geek. Today on An Eye for Horror, I'll be talking with a very special guest. He was the voice of Earl Sinclair on Dinosaurs, Michael Douglas's best friend Jimmy in Fatal Attraction, Sheriff Lloyd Parsons in Arachnophobia, who, like Roddy Dangerfield, did not get any respect. Bob Charles in not necessarily the news. Gordon Zelensky in Honey We Shrunk Ourselves, also appearing in shows such as Mad About You, Malcolm in the Middle, Boston Legal, and voicing characters in cartoons such as Darkwing Duck, Angry Beavers, Life with Louie, Cow and Chicken, and Batman the Animated Series. Legendary actor Mr. Stuart Pankin.
How you doing, kids?
So, Stuart, how did you discover your talent for acting?
Well, I became enamored of acting I knew I always wanted to be an actor, uh, but in college, I auditioned for the plays and fell in love with my director, Dave Brubaker, who was my director and my friend. And for 4 years, I worked with the theater department there was no theater department at my college, but I worked with the plays at college and just developed a love of acting, and that's where I fell in love with it.
Cool. Um, between acting on stage, in movies and TV shows, or voice acting, what do you like doing more?
Well, my first love is the theater, the stage. I started with that and always love it, and I do it, when I can, even now. Uh, Television is a director's medium. Uh, I mean, television is a producer's medium. It's a kind of a corporate thing. Film is a director's medium, and stage is an actor's medium. You have much more control. You learn every night. You learn from the audience. You learn from other actors. So the stage is my is my first love. I mean, it doesn't pay that well, but it's what I would love to do. There's an old story, not an old story, but there's a saying in California: when you're in New York, you say, "How do I get to California? How do I get to Hollywood?" And then when you get here, you keep saying to yourself and to others, "How do I get back to New York? How do I get on the stage again?" So stage is my first love.
Nice. Okay. You're known for so much. Which character of yours do you think is the most iconic?
Wow. I mean, well, most people, there's a few things that I've done that people remember me for and notice me for. One is not necessarily the news. Uh, Another is dinosaurs. People still, respond to dinosaurs. Um, so that's kind of an iconic. Yeah, there you go. And Fatal Attraction, since it's becomes that's an iconic movie. So you have to add that to the list.
Oh, for
The
sure.
kids like the Xenon movies on Disney. I mean, that's a favorite of them. And but iconic, I guess, Fatal Attraction, Dinosaurs, and not necessarily the news are the biggies.
Oh, for sure. Okay. When voicing Earl Sinclair on Dinosaurs, did you do any improv or just what was on the script?
No, it was on the script. We had to replace the voices of the puppeteers. The puppeteers did the original voices, and then we saw that film, and we had to replace their voices with our voices. I mean, the guy who manipulated Earl was kind of a little English guy, talks like this, which is not what Earl is. So I replaced him with Earl. But no, there was no improvisation because it was all on the screen by the time we got it, and I don't think they improvised either.
Okay. Do you have a favorite episode of Dinosaurs?
Hmm. The episode that gets the most response nowadays is the last episode when the dinosaurs die. That's been, if you can say the word controversial, I guess it was. I mean, I think it's a terrific episode, sad but the kids, some of the kids, when they watched it, were very upset that the dinosaurs were disappearing. That the Sinclair family was gonna be no more. I don't know if it's my favorite episode, but because we did 60 of them, so I don't really remember a lot of them.
Right.
But I enjoyed them all. I think that the Dinosaurs was a terrific show for kids and for adults, and the animatronics, the puppetry was spectacular. But if I had to mention an episode, it would be the last episode because that's the one people talk about the most.
Cool, cool. Oh, I I watched that episode earlier, and geez, it was like a gut punch. But so I can only imagine me, younger me, crying at the end. Just, but it was a great episode.
Yeah.
Um, I know it wasn't you in the suit, but did you ever practice the mating dance that Earl does in the opening credits?
No, that's not me. A guy named Bill Barretto, wonderful guy, was in the suit. He's now one of the top producers and actors in the Henson Company. Billy was in the suit, and he did all that stuff. He did the mating dance. He did everything. There's some wonderful stories about how hot it was inside, and they actually put a seat inside the tail so that he could sit down during between takes. But I put the head on once when I was at the studio. I was not at the studio a lot. But no, Bill Barretta, he's the guy. All those guys who were in the suits did yeoman jobs in a I'm not saying it's like building digging ditches, but
Yeah,
it was tough. It was tough to and hot work. And I my hats off to Billy, and we're still friends.
cool. Did you know people are are wait, crap, I can't read my handwriting. Um, so people are saying that Dinosaurs has the saddest finale of any TV show, and I I think they're right. It's a sad episode.
It is. It is.
Do you keep in touch with Sam McMurray?
Yeah, Sammy and I used to. I don't play golf, and we used to play golf all the time. Over the years. I keep in touch with him occasionally, but when we were playing golf together, we saw each other a lot. Yeah, Sam's a great guy, terrific actor.
Oh, definitely. Cool. Okay, as much as I love dinosaurs, I have to talk about a movie that as a kid and okay, still now scared the shit out of me, but it's a classic. The 1990 Frank Marshall classic Arachnophobia.
Yeah,
Okay,
terrific, terrific.
what was the scariest part about making Arachnophobia for you?
Well, nothing was really scary for us. I mean, we were actors on the set and doing the script, so I would think that the scares were more for the audience than me. There's nothing really scary. The spiders were very expensive spiders from New Zealand. They cost about $1,100 a piece. And during the preparation for the shoot, we had to let the spiders walk on us so that we wouldn't, all of a sudden see a spider and go, ah, there, $1,100 down the tube. So, but that wasn't scary. There's nothing scary. There wasn't anything scary for us. I'm hoping
Right.
that 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 the audience gets scared and still gets scared. The movie is still, it's still very popular, and but not scary for the actors.
And then to your point, it's very popular still, and it still holds up. You know, it's one of those movies that I don't know. It's just a classic, and still scares the shit out of me. And I hate spiders.
Well, I'm not crazy about spiders either, and I agree with you. It still holds up. It was incredibly fun to do, and Frank Marshall did a terrific job. And yeah, it'd be great to have it in the category of classic horror movies because I think it's an excellent movie, terrific cast, and scary.
Absolutely, and it's everything that you can imagine happening to you. A spider could do, or the, like Peter Jackson was sitting on the toilet, and then the spider comes up, and he character lives, but you know, or the shower scene, I'm like just shit like
Yeah,
that, just creepy as hell, very creepy.
yes. Peter Jason was great in it. He's a dear friend now.
Oh, cool. He's okay. I I heard your character was supposed to die. What would his death have looked like?
Well, it was supposed to be in the. I was disappointed that I didn't die. It would have been a nice, a nice moment. He was supposed to be in the car, and a couple of spiders dropped down from the ceiling, and and bit him and killed him. And then he crashed and died. Uh, the reason that he didn't die is because the guys, Jeff Daniels and John Goodman, and all those other guys were racing to Jeff's house, and if they saw me on the road dead, they would have to stop
Oh, right.
and see what went on. So, and they didn't want to do that. So they took out my death scene. And I was disappointed. When I read it in the script, I was sad that I didn't get to have that death scene. But look, happy to be in the movie. It was a great experience.
Right on, right on. So spiders scare me. Yeah, yeah. I love the movie. What scares you?
Podcasts.
Oh,
uh, Scares me. The world scares me now, Jake. What's going on? That scares me. Unkindness of people, self-interest, selfishness, entitlement. That scares me because that translates to road rage and killings and violence. So that scares me. Not spiders. I can take. I can kill a spider. It's hard to kill. What's going on out there.
true. Very true. Do you watch TV shows or movies that you've been in?
I don't seek them out when they're on. When I did them after I finished doing them, when they're on, or yeah, I do watch them. I don't seek them out for the most part, but I like to see. A lot of actors don't like to look at their work. I like to see it. It helps me, and it's fun to watch it. It makes me happy that I was working. So the answer is yes and no. Yes, I do watch them, but no, I don't seek them out. I don't look for the streaming on TV. If they're on, I might watch a couple of minutes of it and then move on because chances are I've seen most of the stuff I've done. So the answer is again yes and no. Yes, I see them, but no, I don't seek them out.
Right on. Cool. Um. Um. Uh, excuse me. Did you have any interaction with Fred Gwynn on the set of Fatal Attraction?
No, sadly not. No, he's a real famous actor and apparently a fun guy, but I never met. I worked with Michael, and I had a small scene with Glenn Close, and and that was it. That was it.
Okay. Is it's funny. You were the first character to see Glenn Close, yet she falls for Michael Douglas's character.
Mhm.
But that would have been an interesting movie if she had, I don't know, fallen for you too or something. I don't know. Just
Well, I pitched that. I wanted her to fall in love with me, would have given me a bigger part, but the director said no, she has to fall in love with Michael Douglas. We had a brief affair off screen, but that's not for public domain.
maybe an eye for horror after dark. Huh. um, let's see. So I I I I watched a few episodes of not necessarily the news, and that show was hilarious. It was before my time, but there was this skit of you dressed up as Mr. T, and it was absolutely hilarious. Mr.
Thanks.
T Emporium.
Yeah, Mr. Import, I remember that. Well, we did 6 years of and a lot of sketches. Not necessarily the news was a terrific show. I'm thrilled to have been a part of that. It was, it was on when cable television was in its infancy, and there was not 29% cable. You should excuse the expression penetration in the business, and not necessarily the news was even less because you had to pay for it. And for that small viewership, it's astounding that it was so popular, and it grew over the years, over the 6 years that we did it. It grew and grew and grew and became extremely popular. People keep asking me now, even now, are you going to do it again? Are you going to do it again? The answer is no. I mean, the producers have, gone beyond that, but not necessarily the news was a highlight of my career, and thrilled to do it. Still in touch with Annie Bloom and Mitch Lawrence. I love those two. Danny Breen sadly passed away a while ago, and it was a great show, and it created great friendships, and it created some terrific comedy sketches.
Absolutely. But unfortunately, and I totally get why, but that something like you just as Mr. T would not fly today. But it was just hilarious. I don't know.
Yeah, it was. I mean, and it's a show like that could be done today. Uh, the world's a little darker today than it was then, but I don't know. There are, John Oliver and Jon Stewart and Colbert and all that stuff. There's sort of that kind of news parody. Not quite like not necessarily the news. Not necessarily the news was unique, but I'm not sure it could go today. If I'm hoping it would, and if it does go, give me a call.
Absolutely, bring back Bill Charles or any character. What's your favorite movie you've done with Peter Jackson?
Peter Jason, uh, we become from that movie, Arachnophobia became dear friends for over 25 years. Uh, Pete, we've worked a lot. My favorite movie with Peter is probably called Hopelessly in June. We played a gay married couple, and that's and we had an awful lot of fun on the set doing that. So that's it. Hopelessly in June was my favorite Peter Jason. We've done a lot of short films together, or directed by a guy and written by a guy named Jeremy Lanning, and those were fun. But Hopelessly in June, we had an awful lot of fun doing that.
I have to check it out now. I've not seen it. Cool.
Check it out. Check it out. I'll get 39 cents residuals.
Good. Okay. What do you like on your pizza as far as toppings?
What do I like? What?
What do you like on your pizza?
Well, not pineapple, that's for sure. See, my wife and her family, my wife's family, had an Italian restaurant in New York for over 90 years. So they're pizza experts. I'm a cheese man. I'm a regular cheese and tomato sauce man. Occasionally I'll go with meatballs and really pepperoni, but I'm a cheese and sauce man. Classic.
Very classic. But like Macaulay Culkin's character Kevin in Home Alone, plain cheese.
Like cheese. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What are your five favorite scary movies, or if not all scary, some comedy and whatnot.
Well, first of all, favorite is that's it. The favorite is better than best. Actually, it's,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
when I was a kid, a movie named Tarantula scared that crap out of me. Leo G. Carroll was in it, and it was about a tarantula that was terrorizing. That scared me. It Came from Outer Space scared the hell out of me. And interestingly enough, Jack Arnold directed that, and he directed me in the last episode of San Pedro Beach Bums, was the first series I came out here to do. So that scared me a lot. Tarantula, It Came from Outer Space. I don't get scared a lot. I don't like startles in scary movies.
Okay.
I like, Psycho. Psycho is a wonderful movie with very few startles. You know what I mean when I say startles as opposed to scary moments. There's
Like
a
a
movie,
jump scare.
yeah, like somebody pops out at you. I don't like that. That's easy. That's cheap. But those three movies, Tarantula, Came from Outer Space, Arachnophobia is a terribly scary movie.
Yeah.
It's absolutely on the top of my list.
Cool. So as far as music, do you have a favorite artist or singer or song? I mean.
No, no, no. I'm an old-fashioned guy. I like the 40s big tunes, the Great American Songbook. I love Sinatra and Mel Torme, Stephen Eady. That's the kind of guys I like. That era. Um, I'm not familiar with a lot of the modern stuff, um, and I'm not ashamed of it either.
Oh,
But that's what I like. I like the American Songbook, the older singers, Victor Mullins, Jerry Vale. Jerry Vale actually is a friend of mine. Those are the guys that I like and listen to. Mel Torme, Sinatra. I can listen to them all the time. Ella Fitzgerald, Nat King Cole, Oscar Peterson. If you're talking about instrumental, those are the guys I like.
okay, cool. Um, um, in Dinosaurs, I always loved hearing, "Honey, I'm home." That was a terrible Earl, but that 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 was just a great line. That once you hear that, I knew I was in for a good time. Watching
Great, thank you. That's great. It's always good to be home with my honey.
I'm the baby. Gotta love me. That was my terrible impression, but.
Kevin Clash, he was the baby. He was great. He also did the voice of Elmo on Sesame Street.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's terrific.
Nice. Um, um. So how's it going, Stuart?
It's okay. The older you get, you're just glad to wake up in the morning and hang out with your wife and your family. I don't play golf anymore. Have a poker game once in a while with my friends. You know, watch TV, go out when we can. Things are okay.
Cool. Good. Do you have a favorite restaurant that you like to go to?
No, there's a lot of restaurants in the neighborhood where we live that we go to. Um, the favorite, no, there's no restaurant that we go to regularly. Uh, there's a deli in West LA that we go to a lot. Froman's, it's good deli. But no favorites. I don't have a lot of favorites except for my wife and my kids.
Cool. Okay. Now, in preparing for this interview slash conversation, I watched the Dirt Bike Kid, and th that came out 3 years before I was born. But it was a fun yet cheesy movie. But it was cool to see Peter, well, the actor that played Ralphie in a Christmas Story in another movie. But
What movie came out 3 years before you were born?
oh, sorry, the Dirt Bike Kid.
Oh, The Dirt Bike Kid, yeah. Oh, Peter Billingsley.
Yeah, that's geez. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fun movie. That's a movie that is still out there. The director, Hoyt Caston, asked me and Annie Bloom and Danny Breen to be in it because we were all in Not Necessarily the News together. And it was Julie Corman and her company that produced it. And we did it in Texas for about either 5 weeks, 10 weeks. And it was great. It was great being down there with friends. And it's a movie that's still very popular with young people. It still comes up once in a while. I like, making movies occasionally that are family friendly. I like that. And Dirt Bike Kid is certainly family friendly. Anybody can watch it. And it was a lot of fun to make, and it was nice to spend time in Dallas. One advantage of being an actor is sometimes you get to go to some nice places. But yeah, and Peter was who is now apparently a big producer, never calls me Peter. He's doing great, and it was a lot of fun to make. It was a nice experience. There's really an experience of acting in my life that has not been pleasant. It's people sometimes on the negative side of life say, "Do you have any dirt on people? Do you have any stories?" I said, "No. I mean, the fact is that most of the things that I've done as an actor have been extremely pleasant. The actors that I've worked with have been terrific, talented, friendly, nice people. And the Dirt Bike Kid falls into that category."
Right on. I also watched Honey, we Shrunk Ourselves, which I've not seen for a while, but that is such a fun movie, and it's just as good as the first two. And I enjoyed your character of Gordon Selinsky.
Yeah, Gordon Solinsky. Yeah, that was also a great experience. Not Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves was the first movie made specifically for video release. It was never intended to be out in the theaters.
Okay.
It was made for video, and again, a great experience working with Rick and the ladies that were in it. Of course, I forget their names, but they were terrific. And it was a great experience because it was a lot of special effects, a lot of green screen, which means you work in front of a green screen and they put in, spiders and all that
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
And again, terrific. Rick was great. I think he had lost his wife recently, and Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves might have been one of the last movies he did. And he gave up the business to take care of his kids, which is unbelievably admirable. I think he's back working now. His kids are probably old enough, but he was great to work with, and the experience was great. Dean Cundey was the director who worked with Spielberg on most. He was the DP for Spielberg, director of photography for a lot of his movies, and he directed, and it was great. It was just again a nice experience.
Very nice. And the scene where you the this is God's scene is hilarious. The get
Yeah, yeah,
out. Oh, you.
yeah. Climbing up on the speaker. Yeah, they built a really big mock-up of a speaker, and I climbed up there, and I said to these kids, "This is God." Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Actually, Mila Kunis, who is now a kind of a big star, was in that as had a smaller role in it, and it was great. The whole movie was great.
I also love the scene with the chip dip, and how much can teenage girls eat? And it's hilarious.
Oh, the chip, yeah. Well, we had to fall into that gook twice. We did it once, and then we came back the next day and had to do it again for some reason. It was messy, but again, fun and interesting. It's always interesting. Acting is interesting.
Sounds like. Well, thank you so much for again taking the time to do this. I don't want to take up too much of your time.
Pleasure, Jake. It was a pleasure. You asked some good questions.
Thank you. Um, I think you would mind doing a little before we cut it off.
Sure. Howdy, I'm home. I'm here with Jake. He's not home, but he's a good interviewer.
Thank you so much, Stuart. I once again I don't want to repeat myself.
Thank you. See you soon. Have a great rest of whatever you got left.
You too. Take care, sir.
Thanks. Bye bye.
Okay.